And we're live.
Welcome to Fall Forward Radio.
What's up?
What's up? R to the O to the B.
What's up? J to the H to the A to the W to the... It doesn't work as well. This just doesn't work.
It didn't sound that cool.
How you doing?
Doing well, my friend. What's going on?
Well, listen, before I start, I'm going to do our usual call to action.
PSA.
Guys, please subscribe. Please ring the notification bell. Share with everybody. Since we said that last time, it's getting better. People are sharing. So we appreciate your support. Right. Come on for the Full Forward Fanatics. Make sure you press the buttons that are over here. So press those, please.
Positive news. Positive news.
There we go.
Come on. We need more of it.
So what else?
So look, everybody, we've got some good news to share with everybody. Our episode with Rob Shearer, No More Trash Bags. We have got together our plans for our trip, which will be happening this October 23rd, the weekend. We couldn't be any more excited about it. And again, we can't thank meaning We Nation, can't thank everybody enough for all the support helping this happen.
Amazing. When we called him to tell him, we didn't tell him how much, only you guys know, and we're not going to reveal it in case, when he watches this episode before we go. But he was so excited. He's got everything planned for the weekend for us. We're going to go live up there. We're going to make a vlog starting at the airport. Jay and I going on a trip, our first trip since everything, with our masks on the plane. It's going to be super fun. We're going to put something together for you guys. And then when we get there, we sing the vlogging. Yeah, I like that. Look at you. Good. So yeah, absolutely. Can't wait. We'll keep you posted as soon as that. We'll probably have another video before that, but we just want to update you. We're ready to go. Flights are booked. Full Forward Radio masks are going to be ready for us, and everyone's going to be like, who are these guys? So
yeah, buddy. So, hey, before we jump into, our guest for the week, look, it's been an interesting week. Something that hit near dear to my heart. I wanted to share a bit of a tribute to Eddie Van Halen. Yeah. The Van Halen music has been in my family. I can't even tell you how long. I learned this music from my uncles, came into my life. I went into high school trying to get a guitar, trying to be like him, hearing those fantastic sounds, and couldn't get there. So I ended up playing the drums. Yeah. No matter, I still played in bands, guys. We all tried to be like Van Halen and try to emulate their music. And it's just a sad moment. Yeah. Such an influential guy. And I'm going to throw a video of my kids jamming out in the back seat, playing the drums to a couple of songs. But all said, man, it's a crusher. I got to see them at our local amphitheater. Yeah. My wife and I were lucky enough to sit like 4 rows away and see David Lee Roth and Eddie Van Halen playing together. It was everything to me. Yeah. So, man.
Love goes out to the family and the millions upon millions of fans. Rest in peace, my friend. And sorry to see you go. Way too early.
Music lives on, though. We're gonna miss him.
Yep, his music will live on. So this week's guest, tell everybody about you're the king on this one. You were the researcher. You found him. You got him. Tell everyone just a little bit.
So it's interesting how people how we find folks or individuals to interview. We look for those inspirational stories. So somebody who's been kind of jumping at me a lot on LinkedIn was this guy named Robett Hollis. Yep. He's a serial entrepreneur. Accolades just go above and beyond anything I can explain right now. We'll roll a video here in 1 second, but great guy, down to earth. I think everyone will resonate with him more so because he's just, like I said, a down to earth guy who succeeded to a CEO level, but has never lost his roots on being a good guy, where he's come from, and trying really now just to give back and help everybody in the same return. Yeah. It's a fantastic story. I hope you guys enjoy the interview, but let's kind of roll that tape here in a minute, my friend. What do you think?
Let's go. Yeah, the casual ninja is coming. Just remember what we just said about that. So without being said, let's go ahead and roll the tape.
Please put your hand up. Until about a minute ago, you had absolutely no idea who I was whatsoever. Please look around, and I'm humbled. So good.
All right, so in a nutshell, Robett used to be a professional snowboarder, He started up a media company, Frontside, around the time that YouTube just started and produced online video content for big brands. He also started a co-working office space called CoLab NZ, which expanded to become New Zealand's largest co-working workspace in over 10 locations. He ran both those companies over the last decade, and at the end of last year of 2018, he exited both his companies.
We have so many awesome ideas, and so many people don't go and follow through with them because they're fearful. They're like fearful of what others think. They're fearful of the expectations around them. They're fearful of failure. So put your hands up if you've ever heard of a thing called the tall poppy syndrome. So the scary thing about this is half of you in this room don't know it's here, but it is 100% coming for you. There is more damage done from the tall poppy syndrome for the stuff that hasn't been accomplished or people gone after because they've been too scared of what other people think. Stuff that noise. I love seeing Kiwis win. New Zealand wins when New Zealanders win. More of us need to be pushing. More of us need to be going harder. If you want to be successful, you need to think about yourself like you're your own little bonfire. Everyone that's around you is either going to be water or gasoline. They're going to put water on your fire and tell you you can't do it, tell you you're dumb, tell you you're stupid, tell you you won't be able to make it, tell it's a stupid idea, or they will be gasoline. Yeah, bro, you got this. Yeah, let's show them what's up. Yeah, you know, let's do this.
All right. Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us again. We got a really incredible guest here today. Somebody that I've personally been following for a long time on social media. He's a monster out there, serial entrepreneur in so many ways. I mean, the accolades go on and on. But we have with us today, Mr. Robett Hollis. How you doing, my friend?
Hey, okay, mate. Now, I feel like I'm missing out because we've got the whole flag sitch going and I'm not repping my home world of New Zealand behind me. I feel like I've let the team down.
Well, I tell you what, we'll put that in afterwards for you. We'll get that. We'll get that in there. So we got the whole country, the whole world going. So thanks so much for joining us, my friend. We know you're a busy guy. We've done our research on you, and you're how do we say it, a non-stop kind of guy. So you taking the time to speak to us, we appreciate it, my friend.
We're humbled by it.
Oh, no, shit, no. It's sorry, I'm not allowed to swear. No, it's you know, everyone's got a journey and mission, and as long as you learn, it's all good, you know. So no, I think it's great that you know, we were just talking about before, you know, when you can start to share thinking with more people, you know, I think it's an asset and it's a huge thing that many people look over. When you get more intel from as many people as possible, it plants little seeds, which you could potentially use for your own lives, which you may not see if you wouldn't have had those conversations. So random is good, my friend. Random is good.
So Robett, would you mind, just for our viewers, just give a quick, I know it'd be hard for you because you've got so much going on in your world, but could you give them a quick summary, kind of who you are and where you're at right now?
Yeah, for sure. So my name's Robett Hollis, named after my grandparents, Ron and Betty. They comboed it together, Ron, Betty, Robett.
Very cool.
And in a long story short, I'm, I guess, like a bit of a hood kid done good. Raised on a farm till I was 4, then Fiji till I was 9, and then Christchurch in the South Island of New Zealand till I finished high school. I played basketball and soccer for New Zealand, transitioned to snowboarding, and became a professional snowboarder. And I traveled the world whenever I did everything. It was incredible. Used my money to start a media business and built out a content agency, which I exited to Saatchi & Saatchi and Publicis Group a couple of years ago. And then also New Zealand's largest network of co-working shared workspaces for tech startups. Essentially like a WeWork, but we kind of made money, which was nice. And then the last 2 years, I've just kind of been off the grid kind of commercially, and spending family time. We came over to the States for baby number 2, and my wife's family's from here, and then I'm just going through the green card process and stuff. And obviously with COVID, I've kind of been stuck in this little mini studio for the last sort of 7 months, and that's been my life for the last little bit. So you know, failed high school, couldn't get into university, just extremely, insanely determined, driven, uncontrollable, energetic, chaotic human that is me. And I've just kind of gone and done my own thing. And now I guess in some ways popped out the other side and I've been able to win my own way, which has been pretty cool. So yeah, a big part for me is just the give back, the like how I can learn from others, how I can try and do more. And that's sort of it. But definitely a long way from where I started. That's for sure.
Oh, I love your story, man. Like I was telling Rob, whenever I would see your posts, just love the real that comes out of the comments that you put out there. And like you said, you started at the bottom, so to speak, but you brought yourself to such a high of heights. You exited when you're at a high point too, which most would have held on to and like followed it through and kept going to the bitter end. But you jumped out and you wanted to be honest with yourself. And that's what I like about it. I like all your posts that you put out there too. I think a lot of kids out there right now, like you said, who are in high school or maybe even in college, who are wondering like, should I take that risk and do something I really want to do rather than doing what I need to do to get by? You really could learn a lot from someone like yourself, man. So all the props in the world for following through.
No, I appreciate it, man. What is interesting is, we've not met before personally, but through the content which I've been able to create remotely, virtually over years has created enough context. So you actually probably genuinely know who I probably am without me even being in the room. And I think there's something really powerful about that with so many people don't understand around the power of content and messaging and brand. And when you're doing things for the right reason, it converts across time where you actually have depth in a relationship. For those of you may not meet, and it opens up more opportunities, because then by the time they sit there, by the time you actually get in the room with someone, they already know if they like you. They already know if that you get shit done. The only difference is they're trying to figure out is, can I trust you? And that's that last little hook, but I mean, if just by creating lots of little videos, it's crazy for me that, we're in this virtual world right now. I'm from New Zealand and America. You guys are all over the show, with a relationship of some type, and we'll be able to create this thing. If you actually think about it, because I play chess, I'm very, I guess, meta with how I sort of think about things. It's a pretty amazing and blessed world to build relationships and value for others without you being necessarily in the room. And I think there's a lot of power in that, which not many people really fully take for granted. And because I understand content really well, I definitely don't take it for granted. And if anything, I've used that as a mega asset to try and actually make my life easier. So it's super cool, man. So I'm also humbled as well for the opportunity.
Appreciate it. Yeah, stepping stones. Love it.
Robett, I wanted to talk to you about a couple of things, but before we get to that, one of the things you just said just now about people finding out about who you are and then just trusting you is one of the things that our listeners may not know is when you sent us an email, at the bottom of your email, it said, P.S. if we're about to meet, here's some context. So I clicked on it and I was interested and I was blown away because awesome. it was a combination of the beginning part of just saying who you are and basically say, this is me, this is what to expect. And you know what, that for me, or for our point of view, whether we're doing an interview with you, or whether we're meeting you for the first time, or we're going to have lunch with you, it just shows how you're going that extra step to make somebody else feel, okay, here's who I am, this is what I'm about. And it was a combination of comedy, a combination of seriousness, a combination of even how to pronounce your name, which,
yes,
some people would be like, okay. And that's, I said to Jay, before we read that, it was like we watched videos of you and we figured out how to pronounce your name. It's one of those things that's really, really offensive if someone says your name. Now, my name is Rob. I live in America. If I say to someone, my name's Rob, they say, Rob. Rob. So I have to change my name, to Rob, so that people understand. So that's genius. And that is so easy for people to understand where you are. And then you said you've got rid of all of that kind of ice breaking by letting them read that. And at the same time, if someone is serious about getting to know you and they don't read that, it basically says to yourself, okay, well, they're not really that interested in finding out enough about me. Because I personally would use that as a trivia moment for someone when I meet them. Say, so how'd you pronounce my name? Just for fun, because I can see you're the kind of guy that would like to, I'm that person too. I like to catch people out.
Yeah, so so it's interesting, right? And I'm not going to take full credit for that thing. I actually got it off an amazing human called T. Uglo, who's one of the creative sort of masterminds behind at Google. And she previously was a man that's transitioned into being a female, and her whole journey was on there. And she's got, mannerisms and she rolls. She's very unique. And when she had emailed me and I saw it, and I'd already known her, got to know her, and then I thought, this is such an awesome way to give context of her as an individual. And so I just kind of take that and beefed it out a little bit more. And all it was just like, hey, this is like my personality type. This is like everything you can expect for how I roll, how I talk, what I look like, dress like, act like, how I'll move, everything. So I feel it's like, I've said it a few times before, but you know that movie 8 Mile?
Yes.
With Eminem, right? 8 Mile wins at the end of 8 Mile because he front foots absolutely everything about himself, takes away all the ammunition. Then the other side can't say anything about it. And they're sort of then just sitting there like, huh. And so in the way I roll, because I guess I'm, out there and I'm just, I'm willing things into existence on a daily basis, whether it be ideas or whatever it may be. I'd rather have all the ammunition out there up front. So then we've covered all the stuff that I already suck at, and you're going to know how I roll or not. And so I'd rather just do that. And then on it as well, I don't know if you saw that, I think that video, the Play This at My Funeral. Yeah. That video was literally just done so anyone who sees width but doesn't understand depth can realize that it actually is depth, but you've just been tricked by the social algorithms of small 1-minute clips thinking it's just these small little wide stagnated AK-47 wide shots instead of actually sniper shots going deep. So yeah, and this is the content thing again, once again, extremely strategic and gnarly meta layered deep. So I'm very happy that you've gone down the rabbit hole.
Oh yeah. No, that video was incredible, man. I tell you what, we both watched that, and then I just wanted to ask you on that topic too. How did the guy named Sugi, he's the guy I guess that you walked around with. How did he fare at the end of that week? I know he said he struggled a bit to keep up with you though. Is he still trying to keep those paces, or is he done with it? No. Well,
I think what happened is, if you just search up my name and Play This at My Funeral, it's kind of, I guess, a week in my life. And probably it's not this last 7 months because I was through COVID, but I don't stop, and it is pretty, like I watched it, I saw a little bit ago and I was like, yeah, I guess that's kind of pretty aggressive of a week, but I guess my normal's not normal. And so, it's not meant for anyone. And some people can be totally happy sitting back, just chilling and doing that. But for me, I need momentum. I need energy. I need, positivity. I need drive. I need people. I need noise. And I need those things for me to feel like I can get to fifth gear. So, but yeah, long story short, he did not fare well energy wise, at the end of that week, which I just find really funny at this point. But I think you'll get older, things will change. I won't do that again. And I think at the older I get, and maybe if I physically slow down a little bit more, I feel I will probably have more and more humor come out of watching that, just watching how stupid it probably was. The same way I probably looked at photos and videos of me in my snowboard career, asking and saying how crazy and stupid that was too. So perspective, I guess.
So a couple of things on that is I watched it before bedtime, and I slept fantastic after that. I watched it. Did you do that on purpose, knowing he was going to be with you for that week? Did you cram everything in there, or is that legitimately a week in the life?
That was my week.
Of you? That's you.
Yeah, that was my weekend. Yeah, that was my week.
It was like when you watch a movie, right? You watch a movie and then you go, did you catch that part? And then we watched it first. I watched it first, and then I was like, right, now I'm going to go back and watch it and actually try and break down what actually happened, because it went literally like that. And it was like, okay, I'm exhausted. And then you go back and watch it again, and you can get a perspective of what he was going through. The guy was, you could see his head was spinning, and you probably secretly in the back of your mind were like,
I was loving it. No, well, it's content. I just think it's super funny when people step into that world. I've only ever I've put 2 pieces of content out in all my years of content of showing who's in my circle and who I'm with. Mm-hmm. And I'm really guarded around who I talk to, who I'm in meetings with, who I get seen publicly with. I never take photos of any meeting I'm with, like never. And the craziest thing that happened out of both of those things is everyone else that had seen me but didn't know who I was with all of a sudden realized the circles that were actually in my circle and the genuine relationships I actually have. So a bigger part for me wasn't just like, hey, I'm really busy. It was, these are the humans who I'm interacting with, and this is the depth of relationships I genuinely have with these people, which 95% of people who had heard of me or seen me didn't realize I actually had. And yeah, so once again, it's probably straight, but yeah.
You can see that. You can see that by every single person that you met.
You weren't just walking up and saying,
you gave a full-blown hug, and I'm talking like you went under the arms and you wrapped around, and I was watching every.
Rob was really hoping for one of those himself soon, so watch out.
It feels like a real one, but that's the thing is you are who you are, and you haven't changed who you've been in the whole time. So here was one of my questions. Something that jumped out in your early years is, I think it was when you were 11, your father had an aneurysm.
Yeah,
Is that
brain
right?
hemorrhage, yeah, stroke, yep.
My dad did as well. My dad had the same thing and went through the situation, and it was a little bit different circumstances. So as soon as I saw that, you know, straight away I was, you know, kind of taken back, because I've never met anybody else that's ever been through that. I've seen it and read it. And, you know, I know it was a challenge for you because you became the man of the house during that time. So do you think that time in your life has made a big impact on you moving forward down the road with regards to planning out and being kind of the leader of the pack per se?
No, but it's a really interesting question, because the question that I started to ask myself was, so the quick context here is I was 11, my dad had a double brain hemorrhage. He went back to the brain capacity of a 6-year-old. So he was stuffed up, but then he passed away. So it was really bad for 3-4 years in the house, like not good, you know, unsafe, you know, you can imagine, just bad. And then when he finally got better, then it was on New Year's Eve, then we were on a family trip. He'd finally made his redemption back to the whole family and stuff. And then he passed away in a car crash in front of me, and when we were on our family holiday. And so I haven't had a dad, I guess, since I was 11, really. So the question I was actually asking myself, to your point, was actually more, not the driver, but am I so gnarly now because I actually haven't had a father to say, I'm proud of you, son, and you stop? Because if you think about it, like I could be a homeless drug addict and my mum's still going to be like, oh, Robett, you're such a good kid. Oh, you've just, you know, you make me so proud. But a dad saying, son, I'm proud of you, because I've never ever had that. Is that why I don't have a handbrake? Because mentally I've never had that. So I feel I need to keep going, but for who? Like, why am I driving myself? And I went down this path for a little bit. But then I stopped and I realized, no, I've always been a flipping nut job. I was walking at 9 months old, like walking at 9 months old. I was, I wrote a car off when I was 4. I started my first business when I was 5. I was negotiating with 50-year-olds when I was 6. I started, like, I was just like
relentless. I love it.
Flipping relentless the entire time. So yeah, it was, it is tough though, when you think about, you know, every person's childhood affects everyone differently. So, and for me, it probably just maybe galvanized more of the tougher decisions I had to make earlier. But the bit I did think about outside of the father thing was, is that why I'm so potentially childish and consistently immature with how I roll and act? Because I never had a childhood. And no, because I always knew that there's a difference between growing up too fast and actually just enjoying being a kid. I definitely missed a lot of years just being a kid, but simultaneously, I love being an adult, but still having fun. And so weirdly enough, most people enjoy their childhood as a child and they grow up and get old. I missed out a lot of my childhood, but I'm forever going to be sort of mentally young with doing things because I find it either humorous or fun. So those are kind of two kind of deeper things, which I've, I guess, navigated myself internally over the last, 20 years now. But it's true, I'm only 35. I've got plenty of long way to go, but it's a good question because it makes you just stop and actually think about some deeper stuff, which you usually wouldn't. And that's quite a big thing to address early, because if all I wanted was my dad potentially saying, I'm proud of you, maybe I would have just stopped at 18.
Sure.
After I just did this one thing, maybe I would have just been content and happy. So
I tell you, I would think personally, having been in corporate for a long time, you kind of set the bar in a sense. Like you said, you melded two different worlds together, one goofing off and being fun, but then you get it done. You get results out of your actions. I can't imagine that anybody out in this world wouldn't want to be sitting in a similar seat, so to speak, being able to be who they truly are rather than hiding kind of behind who they need to be, to make that wage, if you will. I love it. That's why I like your 100%. Content, man. I love the realism that you provide constantly. And I think as I watched your newer content too, I see people are starting to really catch on and resonate with it, especially with your satirical items that you're mentioning when you're showing like your emails that are goofy and coming across. People are catching that, and now they're starting to catch on, I think, to who you are, and then going backwards and seeing, man, this guy's got great depth to him.
And that's I had made a mistake a couple of years ago when all I'd done these like short form content everywhere. And I was in a meeting to take me 18 months to get in front of, 6 people on the other side, me on the other. And it was just like full $1 billion corporate shit. And 20 minutes into the meeting, the big boss on the other side just goes, can I just stop the meeting for a second? Like in the middle of the meeting. And I'm like, yeah, go for it. Whatever, I'm just freestyling away. And she goes, you are absolutely nothing like who I thought you would be. And I was like, huh.
How do you take that, right?
I was like, what do you mean by that? And she literally just goes, I just thought you were a loud millennial piece of shit who absolutely knew nothing.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, the fact, and I said to her, I was like, the fact that you said that to my face, I absolutely love you. But and I even said, it's my fault because I can guarantee you've taken small snippets consistently without depth. And because I haven't created content of depth and substance and long form and whatever, you don't actually know how I'm actually thinking. You're just seeing the snippets and the sound bites. And she was like, yeah. And then what I did right after that, that's when I started interviewing people and doing long form. So you could see how it actually communicate, my brain would work. And over the course of an hour, 2 hours, whatever it may be, then all of a sudden there was context. And funnily enough, the tides have turned because now everyone goes the other way of like, yeah, that guy's gnarly, dude. Like, don't let the t-shirt and the swearing fool you. He knows exactly what he's doing. And so in some ways it's exposed me, so I can't really get away with the same, just like, hey, you guys, it's all good. Because all I do is just like fish people for info and they just tell me everything thinking I'm an idiot. And it gets to the end and then they're like, oh shit, actually, oh fuck, wait a second. Oh, so once again, it's chess in many ways. And it was just something that I had to realize that I'd done. But the good thing is I've done more than enough that people can't question my intent to try and help other people with content.
Yeah.
It's impossible to fake it that long. It's impossible.
I mean, you said something earlier on in the interview. You said about the normal. What is normal? What is the word normal? And the fact is normal's boring. There is, if someone says, oh, I'm just, your normal person, you're like, okay, well, how many people around the world are just, as you said, normal? You can say you're kind of normal. Yeah, I'm just a normal guy, but yours is a different type to my normal, to Jay's normal, to somebody else's. And the fact that she called you out on that probably shocked you. I mean, you probably were like a little bit taken back, but at the same time, like you said, you respected her for calling you out and saying how it was, and then you realized exactly what you had done. But the good thing is, going into this interview, Jay and I did the research. We didn't know exactly what to expect. And like you said, we'd never met each other. We'd never spoken to each other. We'd gone through emails and back and forth. And that was the excitement of doing the interview, is because you know what, whatever happens, happens. And, we keep the interviews on this show very raw. We don't edit. We don't take anything out. We don't go back and clip bits and part. It's a chat between three guys. And, our goal with the show was for people to help people, pay it forward. We've
inspire each other, motivate.
Exactly. And we've watched what you've done. And that kind of brings me into the next thing, that something that's not very familiar with the US, the UK, I think a little bit more in the UK, is the tall poppy syndrome. Now, I know you talked about that a while back, and that's something I believe, is still doing now. Can you just explain a little bit to the viewers what tall poppy syndrome is? Because I know it's big in Australia, big in New Zealand, but not so much in the US, if you don't mind.
Yeah, 100%. So tall poppy syndrome essentially it's almost like a social condition where the masses around you don't actually really want you to succeed and will talk down on you and talk down of someone if they're trying to go after it and try and hold them back. Put fear in their head to try and not do something that we're really passionate about. And essentially the vibe of it, a perfect example, if someone in New Zealand is amazing at something, or has done something really well, if they were in America, you could happily shout off the rooftops like, I am great, I did this is awesome, rah.
Yep.
In New Zealand, I'm not going to say anything because if I do, it's going to make it look like I'm a show off. Now there's a difference between being proud of who you are and having confidence in your ability versus standing off the rooftop like I'm the man out of arrogance. And so in New Zealand, that isn't really a thing. So the greatness stays hidden, and then others who want to do something good don't even know that the others exist. So success has a real awareness issue, which is also bad. But the biggest part of it that I think is the biggest mistake or the biggest downfall is all these Kiwis with amazing ideas and creativities and dreams and stuff that they want to go after, they won't do it out of fear of what everyone else thinks. They then will get old and all they will do is have regret for not trying those things.
Yep.
So I am fearful of other people's future regret, of them being 50 going, damn it, I should have not taken that role there because I actually hated it for the money and done this because I loved it. I wish I was brave enough to try the startup. I wish the shoulda, coulda, woulda thing.
Yeah.
I can't shoulda, coulda, woulda my future. It's not going to happen. So, and I don't want that for others because I know that then they're going to have regret.
Yeah.
And that's a huge part. And just weirdly enough, it's a dynamic in society. And it's great now because in New Zealand, they are starting to do awards where we celebrate our tall poppies. We're just like, hey, you're now the number 3 at Facebook. That's amazing. Hey, you're now sending rockets into space. Holy shit, this is so awesome and great. Hey, you're a local community organizer who's helping getting kids off the street and getting them into, coding courses. Great. It's the tide is starting to shift. All I was trying to do is make a noise about the fact of our greatness stays hidden, and New Zealand's not going to be globally great if we stay locally hidden.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my thinking.
It's like that saying, I think it's Les Brown, that says, where are some of the most amazing ideas ever? And the answer is in the graveyard. Is like you said, and are you working still with children, with kids as they're growing up, getting the message across to them from an early age that it's okay to be proud of what you do, with the difference of being arrogant?
Yeah. So 2 years ago, I put out a free sort of ebook, Power Moves, which was essentially half my life and then half lessons learning. I put out to 800,000 students, which was free, which was awesome. Then I did like a big tour across all around New Zealand, went to a whole bunch of schools. It was incredible. And someone asked me the other day, like, how do you know if it's going to be successful? What's your ROI of this thing? And I said, I'm not going to know until for decades, because when you're 10 or 15, breadcrumbs, exactly. So I call them breadcrumbs. I'm like, I need to plant these breadcrumbs now to see, wait a second. Oh, this guy like looks like who rolls like me. Oh, he didn't pass high school. I didn't pass high school. Oh, he didn't go to university. I didn't go to university. Oh, he didn't has any qualifications. I don't have that. He's wearing a t-shirt. I wear a t-shirt. Why can't we? Why can't I ? Why is that possible? And so for me, I just know, like, one of my mentors 5 years ago said to me, Robett, name 5 people your age that look like you, roll like you, that have done what you've done in New Zealand. Go. And I'm just sitting there, I'm like, I don't know. And then I was saying heaps of people, and they said, name me 5. I couldn't name 5. He said, name 3. I'm like, couldn't name 3. He's like, okay, cool. He goes, well, now you're aware that because you're the only one, you have to do this to open the door for others, because if you don't, who will? Yeah. And he was right. I'm like, holy, you're actually flipping right. So I'm of the opinion, I'm just trying to create as many breadcrumbs as possible. And then others will hopefully find those in the ether. This is one small breadcrumb, which is coming to fruition. Great. But you're not going to know the impact of that, because one thing you say changes people's life. Like my career advisor at 15 years old telling me you can work in a warehouse packing boxes. Mm-hmm. That one sentence changed my entire life, because I was like, okay, Rosie, okay, Miss Moore, okay. And then, and so I don't know where these little snippets will help others, but I hope it's when I'm like 60 or 70 walking down the street with my grandkids and flipping some random 50-year-old rolls up and goes, yo, in 2020, you said this thing that I saw on whatever, and it made me do ... Yeah. It's going to be generational ROI. Yeah. And I think that's the interesting thing.
That's cool that your mentor kind of passed the baton to you, though, and kind of said, now it's time for you to become that mentor and kind of pay it forward, if you will. That's good stuff. And
it's a platform of, I was just going to say, it's going from a prove yourself to others mentality to then providing value to the platform, which you've now have. There's a difference, because one is like defense stuff I'm going to fight the world, chip on my shoulder shit. And the other's like, no, well, now we're here. Now, what are we going to do with it? Because the last thing you want to be is some like 50-year-old washed up, angry old dude that like just is still bitter at the world with how it was and what he feels he should respect. Stuff that. No. It's like you got a platform, pay it forward, share it around. So like that's why stuff like it's great.
You don't want to be, you can be the king of the mountain, but then you're all alone up there. So what good is it at that point? You got nothing, no one to share it with. Now you're going backwards and kind of looking down and going, guys, who can I throw a hand backwards to pull up with me? So that's awesome.
I mean,
we need it. Yeah.
You know what the thing is as well, is it's from a different angle with what we're doing with our show is, we don't have millions and millions of followers yet, hopefully. But the thing is that what all of the people, the guests that we choose and I say that we choose, we don't just take anybody because someone says we want to be on your show. We haven't got a line of people out the studio wanting to come on the show, but we're picking people and looking at people that we think could help benefit somebody. And if it's one person, if our show with our guests can impact one person, then that's all we need. We did an amazing fundraiser where we raised $14,000 in a week. And one woman came out of that and said, I was a foster child. It was for foster children carrying stuff around in black bags. She came out and said to us, I haven't thought about this, but for the last 35 years, I won't use plastic trash bags because it's damaged me so much. And she came out and said, you have no idea how much this has helped me. And me and Jay looked at each other and went, yeah, we raised $14,000. That's amazing. But that was more important.
It was the impact, the pebble in the water.
One person. And that's the same as what you're saying. You don't know, but it will happen and people will come out and say it. And I don't think there's a better feeling on earth of helping somebody else, indirectly or directly, and them thanking you. So it's amazing.
Scaled value to empower others. That's the thing, to scale, enjoy the ride, create things I'm proud of, and to scaled value for others. And you can't do that when you're in the room going one-to-one coffees. You can do it if you go one-to-many videos or content or everything. So that's where the power of content is huge. And, I'm starting to get it now with people that have come out of high school into real world or transitioning out of corporate jobs into other stuff. It's starting to happen, but obviously that they're all in the private messages and stuff too. So I think it's important because if you don't, who will, right?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And you hear, and I always tell my wife, and I tell Rob too, you always hear the celebrities when they're talking, like sitting on a couch in one of the talk shows, and they say, well, what happened? How did you get from point A to point B? And they said, you know what? I'm no different than you. I was sitting there. Now suddenly I'm a celebrity. Why shouldn't any of us be in that same situation? We can, and we can use these platforms to help others as well. So I don't see why we can't do it. A
good friend of mine, Jossie Wells, he's a skier from New Zealand, X Games medalist, Olympian, all the rest of it. Was on Nike, Oakley, big time ski dogger. His dad, when he was real young, said to him when he was still on the come up, he goes, someone's going to be the best. Why not you?
Yeah, that's awesome.
And then like when you're young, you're like, well, someone's got to be number one. Why not me? Why can't it? Wait a second. Why? And the interesting thing now, if you look at, the way I've, I guess, been able to break through, rolling a bit different. Like I go to boardroom meetings, like this is exactly how I dress. Like this is how I live and breathe. Just casual ninja. Yeah. But interesting enough, when everything changes, it then says, well, the infrastructure of big corporate was a certain way before COVID, but all those rules went out the window. Yeah. So when I look at that, where I said, well, if I already changed the game with what winning could potentially look like, and the rules of how they play has been changed, well, who's creating the new rules? Who's not to say that you can't do ... Why isn't it possible to ... And it's almost, reframed many of the rules and thinking for decision makers in the big world now, I feel. So I guess my advice, or the thing I'm saying is, well, if you're playing the game and you don't like the game, make a new game.
Yeah.
Why not?
Change it up. Yeah. There's no hard set rules.
Because if you don't, who will?
That's right.
Genuinely.
Well, everyone's chasing the result in the end anyway. So what's the difference how you get to the end result, as long as you get there? I love it.
I get it.
So Robett, man, we love talking to you, my friend. Usually whenever we have these interviews, we like to ask our guests, is there anyone that you would suggest that you've come across that we could shine a light on as well and kind of share with the world on our show, their story and something that they're doing to inspire others? Does anybody come to your mind by chance?
If it was in terms of, it depends on, if it's inspirational, there are obviously many, but for the case of with where it is at now, I think something that's really interesting. I've talked to him before, is a guy, Patrick Bet David. Have you heard of him?
No.
In the States?
No.
Patrick Bet David. Look into him. Immigrant family, built up big brokerage now, like thousands of employees, all sorts of stuff. But I like the idea of, well, he's obviously American now, he's in the mix. He's got a pretty interesting take on the world that we're living in now. And it's one of those things because he's a gnarly alpha male with firm set things. And I just really like talking to people that are really set visionistically, that have executed with what they believe, because it makes you just not second guess or question or anything, just what potentially is possible when people believe certain things, but then also when there's a bit of intellect and dollars behind them because they've actually done some stuff too. It just it gives you it widens anything to widen the lens for me is good. Like awesome. Go wide, find, and then you can go deep.
Perfect.
Love it.
Well, listen, before we leave you, one last thing again we'd like to ask all our guests. Is there anything we can do for you to help promote anything that you're doing or anything that you want to get out there to the world?
An initiative, a charity, or anything.
Charity, anything at all. Is there anything that comes to mind?
Probably, I mean, if you're an underdog or a young buck or a student or trying to get into the startup space or do something to think about how you can change mindset, like literally I did a free ebook for 800,000 kids, and you can download it for free just off robett.com, robett.com. Just go to book, it's there, it's free. And it's just kind of like all my, I guess, life learnings and business of friends and family and how just everything all in one spot. And then a bunch of different actual lessons, like commercially around things I've learned and stuff that I've done, and it's free and it's there and it's cool, you know? So probably that if you're wanting to get context on that or go in the mix, you're more than welcome.
I'm definitely going to download it, so you can guarantee that. It sounds awesome, man.
For sure.
Well, listen, it's been an absolute pleasure. Please stay in touch. We'd love to, if you're ever in Florida, you're ever coming this way, we'd love to meet up with you, obviously with everything going on right now, but it's been fantastic, fascinating, exciting to talk with you.
Love the content. Don't stop too, please. It's refreshing to see someone like yourself out there grinding, and actually, like I said, your grind is great, and plus you're getting results out of it, which is even better. I love it. Stay true to yourself.
I appreciate it, man. It can be a lonely road when you're the you know, just the one leading the way. And so messages like that mean a lot. It validates that even though we've never met, you know, breadcrumbs are working and it's going in the right direction, which is cool and adding value to others, which makes me feel good.
For sure.
Perfect.
Thanks again, my friend. It was a pleasure.
Speak to you soon.
Awesome, bro. Appreciate it.
Bye-bye. Wow. Yeah. Wow.
Finally good to meet that guy. I tell you what, he's awesome.
How cool. He's so cool with his whole setup. And you have to understand, guys, not everyone that we interview have a setup like he did. Me and Jay were kind of like,
we're questioning our equipment.
We're questioning now, you know, he see what we said about the casual ninja, the black t-shirt, the black hat. You couldn't see the Nikes. That's all he wears.
He rocks it
the time. So I think we're going to change it now. I think, Jay, we just wear these shirts all the time.
Oh yeah.
I
think we'll have to get a couple of different ones, right? So
otherwise they'll start to smell. No, he was awesome. I saw you girl fanning there at the beginning.
Yeah, I got tongue tied at first. I'm not gonna lie to you. I've seen a lot of his content and I really enjoy it, but getting the ability to meet him in person for a second there, it kind of slowed me down.
Yeah, I mean, I love the whole tall poppy syndrome. That's not something that is common, and you know, showing how difficult it is in New Zealand to be proud of what you've done. I mean, it's incredible that people
to success.
Yeah, so
it's just good to see people rise up in anything that they do, but then they always look backwards and try to throw a hand back to pull people forward. And he did that with the tall poppy syndrome. He said exactly, I put all my own funding into doing this to let people know that it's okay to succeed and feel good when you do.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just an awesome guy. I mean, if you look at the way he held himself together, you know, take a page out of his book there, my friend.
I'm gonna try.
I think both of us, I mean, he was just so casual. Sometimes we're a little bit stiff. You know, you've told me a few of my TikTok videos. It looks like you've got your finger in my side, and I was
got a gun at you.
Yeah, exactly. But we do apologize for some bad language that he did say. So not his fault. That's the way he is. We're just letting you know, we decided to not beep it out. We're just going to keep it as it is.
Mild.
Here. Yeah, mild. Exactly. And it was just very good accent. And that's how you tell the difference between Australian and New Zealand. A lot softer accent, not yelling and shouting. Anyway, I'm just.
So let's roll that music.
Yeah, roll that music.
Let's talk about something important here.
Very exciting. Jay and I have been working on the launch of the Fall Forward merchandise, and it is nearly, I mean, when I say nearly ready, it is the matter of a couple of little things. We're going to hit the buttons. There's some exciting, fun, great stuff. We'll be wearing it here soon when we go up to our trip in Maryland to see Rob. You'll see it on the vlogging. Can't wait. What have we got coming up? What have you got coming up next week?
So look, everybody, a real good theme that we continue to perpetuate is all about the kids. We've connected with some folks locally here down in Florida in our area, and they're doing some fantastic things for children that need the help, that have some disabilities, and we get the opportunity to go on site, meet them, see their operation firsthand. We're going to collect a lot of video and share it with everybody, and then interview the folks there that are running the operation and figure out what their why is. So
it's going to be awesome.
Looking forward to it.
On tour, we're actually going out there. You're going to see us, photos, video, and stuff like that. So we're excited about it. So Jay, next week, Can't wait to see you. And
Yeah, buddy.
Is Rob C in the place to be? Yeah, you know me. 1, 2, 3. I'll see you next week.
And this is Jay Hawk. Take care, everybody. See you later. Bye-bye. Hey, Fall Forward fanatics. Jay Hawk here.
And Rob C. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well as the notification bell.
And also check out our website, fallforwardradio.com, and the Suggest a Guest section.
And always remember to keep inspiring
And keep falling forward. See you guys soon.